Summer flare season is upon us, guys. So if you don't know much about summer flare season, then you're in the right place because we are going to go over the nitty-gritty about this season. I also have a special guest at my sleeve that I think everyone will be excited to hear from. Okay, the summer flare season is going to have what they are calling the Codex Dragons. And we're going to have a cool new sigils that we can utilize to earn these. Now, they did on their live stream go through their branches, but let's go over that really quickly in case you missed it. Because there are going to be some changes that you're going to want to be aware of. For example, on the left-hand side, you're going to notice at the bottom, the egg tokens have 2 different numbers now. So we're definitely going to go through those details, as well as the announcement of the festive dragon on the bottom right, and some notations on the top left. But our focus right now is going to be the first branch on the left. Okay, so at the top left, you're going to see complete 1 full branch to unlock up to the mythic platinum stone. This means if you get the sorcerer dragon, which is Coatl, or you get the hunter dragon, which is, listen to me, I'm going to have issues pronouncing these dragons' names. I could see it now, which is Coatli. Then you will be able to actually unlock the mythic warrior dragon already, except you will only be able to get to the platinum stone. However, this gives you the chance, let's say you're not too thrilled about both of the dragons in the bottom, this will give you the ability to not only just collect the mythic warrior dragon if you wanted it, but it's also going to give you the chance to kind of test it out so you can get the dragon, see if it's something you are interested in, and then maybe work on the other hunter. Now at the very bottom, you're going to notice another new difference, which is the egg tokens. So you know how I feel about these. I feel like those boosts are super important, but they've actually expanded them. If you remember back to the last season and the seasons prior, the egg token boost line would allow you to spend 3,150 sigils, and this would allow you to get a 100% bonus on your egg token missions. Well, they've actually doubled this line where you can actually take it further and get up to 125% on your egg token missions. So that is a pretty cool feature, and I'm pretty excited personally to find out what goodies are, along the way. Okay, so now the big thing I want to go over is, the time frames you can expect to see these other dragons come out. So of course, everything to the left you're going to see now. Your dragon rider in the center should be out on the 3rd week of the season, and then the rest are going to come later, I believe week 8. So if you're not interested in the earlier dragons, you might want to hold off, maybe get your egg token boosts, and then see what's coming out later. Now let's go ahead and go through the dragons, and then maybe we can predict what's coming up in the future. Coatl is our first dragon I want to go over because this dragon is going to be the discounted dragon. Okay, so the first thing you need to know is that she will have a wind element, and she will be a sorcerer dragon, and I call her a she because she is so fancy looking. Now let's go over the spells of this beautiful dragon. The first spell is going to be pretty much, recognizable to most of you, which is the Thunderbolt, and it will be a white spell, and it will only cost you 2 rages. Now, with this, it's going to send an unpredictable lightning bolt that bounces off a total of 4 towers or monuments, and this will do a total of 20% base HP and damage per jump. The next one might also be familiar, which is the Northern Lights, and this is the light one. It's going to take 2 rage, and it will be a blue spell. Now, with this spell, ribbons of energy surrounded by the dragon, making it invulnerable to attacks for a period of time. Once the duration of the spell is over, the ribbons of energy will actually expand outwards, affecting buildings in range with a healing mark that heals 10% of the dragon's base HP. Basically, which means that whenever it, goes out and lands healing marks on the towers in front of you, when you take those towers out, you're actually going to get back 10% of your health according to what you take out. So, for example, a farm will give you back a lot more life. Now, the spell does have a 6-second duration and a 4-second cooldown. Now, the next spell is very, very particular to this dragon, which is the Mystic Barrage, and it is a blue spell, and it only takes 1 rage. When this is active, the dragon will do an extra 100% attack damage on top of the base damage, and it does have a 6-second duration. Now, I'm not for sure what the cooldown is on that, if there even is one, but if we find out differently soon, then I will be sure to update you guys later. All right, so with this particular spell, it's basically going to be a lot like Havoc. It is going to last longer than Havoc. However, it will be a lot like Havoc. So it's just basically going to boost the amount of damage each, fire puts out into the towers. Now let's go over the last one, which is a pretty cool spell. That is the Adaptive Resist. Now this is an active yellow and 0 rage. And this Adaptive Resist will allow you to cycle through lightning, dark flak, and fire turret resists. The spell also gives a small amount of rage upon use. However, the spell does have a 2-second cooldown between changing resists. Now, one of the things about this, I have never personally utilized this before, but from my understanding of others that have, this can be challenging to get used to at first, but once you know how to use this effectively, this can be one powerful, thing to have on your dragon. I'm pretty excited because this is the one I plan on going for first, because she is discounted, and I do love sorcerers, as all of you know. Now, of course, if you are a big lover of hunters, they do have a dragon for you too, and his name is pronounced Coatly. Coatly is going to be the hunter dragon this season, and he's got some pretty cool spells as well. Now, everybody knows what Cloak is. Cloak is a blue 1 rage, and what this does is it conceals your dragon against the enemy towers, and this spell will have a 12-second duration and a 3-second cooldown. Now, something that is pretty cool is it also has a white spell called Heat Stroke, and this is going to be a white spell 1 rage that will increase the dragon's breath damage by 50%, as well as inflicts damage over time when buildings hit with regular attacks for a duration of the spell. The spell has a 4-second duration and a 3-second cooldown. Now, the next spell is going to be the Everlasting Hunt. This is very special to this dragon, and it is a red spell with 2 rages. Now, if this dragon dies during the duration of the spell, it deals 10% of its base HP in a radius and heals back to 500% of that base HP. This spell has a 3-second duration and an 8-second cooldown. Now, yes, it is a red spell, but red mage towers will not block the dragon's rebirth. However, they do block the area of the affected damage that would be dealt to those surrounded towers. So it sounds to me like you can still utilize that spell, but it won't be as strong. Now, the last thing, of course, is going to be the Fire Flak Resist, which we all know is a fantastic resist to have, because this is going to reduce the damage that you receive from a fire flak by 70%. So any flak tower resist, to me, is a pretty fantastic resist to have. All right, let's go into Wheatseal and talk about him. He is the Mythic Earth Warrior Dragon, which means you will have to unlock him by obtaining the dragons earlier in that tier. Now, remember, one of the changes they made is, for example, if you unlock all the way, you collect all of one of the previous 2 dragons we talked about, then you can actually unlock Wheatseal all the way to the Platinum Stone. However, anything beyond that, you would have to actually complete the branch on a secondary dragon of the 2 that I just talked about. Now, let's go ahead and go over his spells. He does have some pretty cool ones. The first one is the Explosive Aegis, which is a white spell 2 rage. Now, this shields the dragon for 80% of its base HP and provides 50% increased base attack power. In the empowered state, the dragon damages all nearby towers and causes them to take 20% increased damage from future attacks. Spell has a 5-second cooldown. Now, the next spell is the Blood Fury. This is a blue spell, and it only takes 1 rage. Now, the dragon gains 3 rage, and destroying a tower heals the dragon for a percentage of the damage that is done. Now, while the spell is active, dragon rage generation is slowed by 90%. Spell has a 4-second duration and a 4-second cooldown. So you're really going to slow down your rage when using this. However, it seems to be a very powerful spell. The next thing is going to be the Lightning Storm, which is a white spell, 2 rage. It fires lightning strikes that deal 7% of the dragon's dragon's base HP to individual towers and range. Lightning strikes occur every 0.5 seconds for the 5-second spell duration, totaling a total of 10 strikes. Now, this is something that is on other dragons, so you can definitely easily look up what the spell is all about. And last but not least, he does have a really awesome resist, which is the Dark Flak resist. And of course, everyone knows these are passive, and it will reduce the damage from the fire flak towers by 70%. And I must point out that he is an earth elemental dragon, and that he is a warrior dragon. So if you have an earth rider, he would go really great with this dragon. So that is the dragons of the season coming up. Let's go ahead and look at these beautiful dragons one last time. Like we had said, we got Wheatsteel on the left, and then we've got Coatl on the center, and then we have Coatli on the right. Now, of course, with these dragons, they are all beautiful, which is going to make this a very difficult decision. However, remember that the one in the center is your discount dragon. So if you're interested in getting a mythic dragon, this would be a great time to utilize that discount. So if you're really looking to try to get that mythic, try to take advantage of the discount on Coatl in the very beginning. If you're going to have to spend it anyways, you might as well do it while it's cheaper. They are not expecting any other dragons to be discounted, including the festive dragon coming up later this year. So if you really want to get a great bang for your buck, that will be the way with Coatl. However, if you're not a big fan of sorcerers, there are the other options, which is to wait till later, as well as working on this beautiful hunter dragon here on the right side, Coatli. Now, if I were you, if you don't really know what you want, I would check Twitch tomorrow night, really, and see if Crisis is doing her live stream and showcasing these dragons. That should really help you decide what you want to spend your sigils on. Speaking of sigils, there is a new design for the Summerflare sigil, but because these sigils are designed for the specific seasons, that means that this season's that's just ended, that ends today, will not forward into the following season. So if you have sigils that are with the Springvale season, be sure to spin those up now, because you will not be able to utilize those come the next season. However, the Summerflare sigils will be beginning tomorrow, and you can start collecting those up in order to collect the fun things that you would like to have. Now, if you would like some extra sigils, then be sure to sign up for today's giveaway. Today's giveaway is going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be creative like it normally is. I want to give everybody an equal chance in order to win. So we're actually going to do something very normal. You're just going to go into the comments section below, and you're going to go ahead and put your in-game name and put hashtag Summerflare. If you put that there, then we will get you entered for a chance to win this weekend a cool pack that you can use in the next event, which is the breeding event. So the breeding event is back. If you don't already know that it is coming in, it is going to be here tomorrow. So be sure that you've got all your dragons ready to, up to that breedable level, and that you have checked your breeding plan with, for example, Red's breeding plan to see what you're supposed to breed next. For all of you out there that are not following a breeding path, it is highly suggested by many. So if you go check out Red's breeding guide, you can actually put that in your Google search, Red's breeding guide, and it'll actually come up in different locations, and you can go search that out. I'm hoping to have Red on maybe the next Talk Dragon Tuesday that we have a breeding event going on, which probably won't be for another month. So I plan on reaching out to her, and maybe she can help us better understand, what her breeding paths and her breeding guides are all about, so that you can better understand them, especially for you low-level players that watch my channel. Now, I am pretty excited personally for this breeding event, because I am still trying to get into my next level tier dragons. And in fact, I've decided to do a serious slowdown once again on my growth until I've at least got into my garnet and maybe even further. So, all right, guys, let's get on to the next piece of business, which is saying goodbye to Springvale season and hello to the new one, which is Summerflare. I have a very special guest today that I think everyone is going to be excited to hear from. I know personally I was shocked when he agreed to do this interview with me. However, before you guys listen to the interview, please know that there was some definite issues with sound, so I've played with the sound as much as possible. So if you have peaks or whatever, I do apologize. So I may have to figure out something else before I do another one. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and jump on over. I'm going to introduce you to today's special guest. Okay, so we have a very special guest today on our show. I'm so excited, and I think everybody's going to be in shock because I know I am. PG Coffee is here with us today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me on, RPW. This is a real pleasure. I really appreciate you doing this show and walking our players through the wonderful world of War Dragons. And I'm really happy that you invited me on today.
I'm a little bit shocked. There's a little bit of fan shock going on. You guys are like famous to us War Dragoners, you know what I mean? So I don't know. Well, to some of us. So, you know, what is it exactly that you do at War Dragons?
Great question. Most people probably who have heard of me already know me from the streams we do regarding seasons, which is definitely one of the bigger things that I do. So we have a team that we call Events and Seasons. That's the team that I run, and we're in charge of our weekly events. So those are both major and minor events, as well as the seasons. So it's a lot of sort of live day-to-day operations and dealing with the issues the players might be having in those events, as well as designing new events, new features, and then running all the season content. So that keeps me pretty busy. I'll tell you that.
Oh, sure.
We have a couple other teams that handle other aspects of the game, but that's what I'm in charge of, and that's why you see me talking about seasons all the time.
Which is why I thought it would be perfect to have you on the show this week, because we have the new season coming out.
Yes, tomorrow. Extremely excited. Hopefully everyone was able to tune in to our streams last week, where we discussed the new dragons, and you got to watch me garble some of the names. We really do try our best, but I don't come up with the names. Our team does, because they really want them to be aligned with the character and the theme of the dragons. But they're not the ones that have to go on stream and pronounce them. So I think they're trying to mess with me, see how far they could go this season.
Well, as long as they don't start using alien names, I think you'll be okay.
Yeah, don't give them ideas. You'd be surprised.
Predator versus Alien. Oh no.
Exactly.
Oh dear. Okay, so that means that since the season's starting, what is your most excited thing about, like, as the person that's putting this out, what are you most excited about?
Well, season launch is always, every season feels unique in its identity to me. This is the 4th season I've launched now since I've been on this team, and I can remember each one very fondly, and each one feels a little bit different. And this season, of course, the theme I think is one of the strongest themes we've done in terms of its cohesiveness. And it really resonates with me, and the artwork, both on these 3 launch dragons, and then the riders you're going to be seeing, as well as the other 2 dragons, I think is some of the strongest that we've ever put out, and the most interesting. They really took this Mesoamerican theme, and I think it really inspired our artists. And I'm very excited in particular for the defensive rider that we're putting out for the first time. That's something that a number of players had requested. It's something some of our gameplay faction members had suggested would be a good idea, and really excited to have it out. Plus the art on it is really good.
Oh, I'm excited to see the defensive rider. I think it's going to be really cool.
I think so too. And I'm glad it's going to allow players who don't have Atlas access to also be able to use defensive riders, because they're very powerful. and a really cool thing to have on your base and to see when you log into your base. I mean, I'm excited to put mine on Kieran. I like to put Kieran on my base because of the glowing aura around it.
That's
just
what I
makes
like
me
about Gargula, his like the rumble and the smoke.
yeah. Really cool effects on Gargula. Fun on the player. Totally agree.
Now you say this is your 4th launch.
Yeah.
Pretty neat, because that's how long this is my 4th season playing this game.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, fall was the first season because I joined the team about halfway through summer season last year. So I was really getting my feet under me, and then fall season was the first season I got to help participate in the launch of. So that's funny. I'll have to ask you about your favorite dragons from the seasons, because I certainly have mine.
Right. Now, so is that when you started working for War Dragons, or have you worked for them in a different area longer?
That was when I started working for War Dragons. So I joined War Dragons and the team back in June of last year. So I'm actually coming up on my 1-year anniversary. It's been a whirlwind, but a really wonderful year, and I've absolutely loved it. Awesome how much it's evolved. One of the projects that I took on early on was changing the display of the seasons to what you see now. I don't know if you recall from fall season, the sort of long strands that you would have to work your way down, adjusting those to this tiled approach and being able to see the dragon art, which is one of my favorite things. That was something that I really wanted to do and sort of helped me feel like I was taking over the season's project. So that was a big moment for me. So I'm very attached to winter season in particular for that reason.
I hate snow, so it was like, oh, winter in the game too. Like, it was a great season. Don't get me wrong. I got my baby in that season, but...
I understand. It was also, the first season I felt like we named it. We had a sigil associated with it. It drove me crazy in fall when we didn't have a good name for that season. And then we had Wintertide, and now Springvale, and now Summerflare. So I just feel
so natural to me, because this is what, I've basically, I've been here during the evolution. So it's like, so natural for me.
Well, that means that we did something right, because that means we did things right if it felt natural. That was certainly part of the goal. And we have, and you will see tomorrow, some small changes to the visibility of the season. Hopefully you'll like them, just in terms of how the tiles are laid out, to try and make it even easier for players to understand exactly what they're looking at as they navigate through the season.
Oh, cool. Now, so you work at War Dragons, and you've been working at War Dragons, like you said, for about a year now. But do you play War Dragons?
Of course I play War Dragons. So I started playing War Dragons about 6 months before I started, because I heard about this company and I was interested, so I started playing the game to see if it was someplace I wanted to go work, and loved the game, which is, of course, what led me to ultimately want to interview there and then go work there. So yeah, I play every day. I really enjoy it. It is definitely different when you're playing on what we call production versus your test device.
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah. I test the game constantly, and review features that we're building, and also test for bugs. And of course, our test devices, you may have seen them on stream, but they allow you, it's sort of a god mode, right? You can do anything you want. There's just a little button on there that lets you, level up to 6,000, or, do whatever you need to do in order to test certain things.
Wow.
And when you spend a lot of your day doing that, and then you jump over to your production device, there's definitely a difference there that takes getting used to.
So it's kind of like getting off the highway, jumping in town. Like that speed to what in the world, what does 25 feel like 5?
I'd say it's more like getting off of a chartered jet and then going, because there's one button in particular which when I'm testing major events, when you're flying against a base, you can use the auto win the battle button.
Oh wow.
if you're trying to test events and see, if points are adding up correctly, it just allows you to do it much faster. And sometimes I will be in a battle on my production device, and I bit off a little more than I can chew. I'm trying to take on a really challenging base, and I just I just want to just auto win right now. I don't want to have to lose. Just use the destroy all buildings button, but we haven't built that spell yet.
That is awesome. Okay, so you play where that is so cool. I think a lot of people are going to find that pretty cool. But the question is, and I don't want to know what level you are because we don't want to give anybody ideas of who you are or where you're at in the game. But what level dragons are you at in your personal gaming?
Well, I will tell you that my favorite dragons are the seasoned dragons because that's what I'm most attached to. And so in terms of the level dragons, I'm about towards the end of gold tier, ready to go to the next tier. So it's taken a lot. I mean, grinding my way up, it's been a lot of fun. It's challenging. But I think the game also has definitely started to change at this tier in terms of the competitiveness of these dragons. So that's very exciting for me. And but in terms of my favorite dragons of the tier, because I spend so much time on the seasoned dragons, I end up flying the seasoned dragons the most. I do
too. I don't really play with others, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm very attached to them. So I actually, while I of course breed, I follow my breeding path because I want to progress. But for me, that's mostly so I can level up my seasoned dragons more and use them. Because I spend a lot of time with these dragons, introducing them to players and thinking about them, and so I'm very attached to them.
See, I call myself the event queen. I love the events. That's what I play for. So whenever I play with my dragons, I just get them to the breedable level, and then I put them away for the feeding event. I don't ever really play with anything but my event dragons, period.
Yep.
So let's compare our favorite dragons then of each season, starting with fall.
Let's do it. All right. Well, what was your first season? Was fall?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we can talk about fall. We can talk about fall first. So, who is your favorite fall season dragon?
Gargula.
Gargula. Oh my God! You just made my day.
Oh really?
Yes. Gargula got a lot of. There were mixed reactions to Gargula, and Gargula was one of the first dragons that I helped design. I played more of a role in fall in putting spells on the dragons. We've added some other members of the team, but Gargula was one of the dragons that I got to help design and come up with the VFX for, and I was very involved in that dragon in particular. So you really made my day.
He was my favorite because of the steel essence.
Yeah, it's a lot of
the whole package of him. He's an amazing dragon. I get it, Necrix is really good, but I can't for some reason fly him the way others do. And then Spender creeps me out. But I got Spender to gold because I was still young, and it was a great perch dragon for me at the time.
Sure.
But I got Gargula, and I got Shimrick, and I got Necrix all to the gold, or I think it was platinum. Now, Shimrick was my go-to dragon because it was easy to use, but I loved Gargula. He was the one I practiced using hunters with, and he's still my favorite and sits on my perch to this day.
Oh, that makes me so happy, RPW. Can't even tell you.
Now, what about you? What was your favorite? Probably that one because you helped it make it.
Gargula, definitely. Gargula. And also, I spent a lot of time designing Moonfang. That on my account, I was not able to achieve the Mythic Dragon. I was only about 6 months or 8 months into my account at that point. But the evolving werewolf style dragon I thought was really cool, and the spells were different than things we had done before, with the whole rage that he would go into, the feral rage and the full moon. So I really had a lot of fun with building Moonfang, and that's one of those where I got to play him on the test device a lot and really fell in love. But was just, I couldn't get enough sigils to make it all the way.
Yeah, me either. So I didn't really get to play with them. So
yeah, well, he was fun.
I'm sure. I did get Grog all the way.
What's that? You didn't get Grog?
I did. I got Grog in the very beginning, and I got him all the way. I was one of your first to go for that rider. I was like, I'm going to take advantage, because what if they don't bring him back out, you know?
You were very smart to grab Grog while he was there. He's a very strong rider, and I think because of how that display was of that season, a lot of players, because he was all the way at the bottom,
right.
You had to sort of scroll down and know what you were looking for. A lot of players who might have been interested in getting it didn't. That's one of the things I like about the new displays, and make it very obvious as to what's just come out.
Yeah, I didn't understand the whole boosts thing before you made him into tiles.
Right.
So that was awesome.
I'm glad that's helped.
Now, what about the Wintertide season? What was your favorite?
Wintertide, my favorite from Wintertide. So when I was a kid, I grew up with this Bernese Mountain Dog named Leo. So Leo's is just my favorite dragon.
The one you call the lawnmower?
Leo's the lawnmower. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, not the most challenging dragon to play. Maybe one of the easiest dragons in the game, but I get a bit of a warm and fuzzy every time I fly with Leos. It reminds me of this dog I grew up with, and so I went all the way down that branch so I could have him basically as I level up forever.
I absolutely fell in love with Equester, and I got the rider to go with it.
Ooh, good choice. Yeah, Equester was probably, I think, for new players, the dragon I would have recommended because I think that while Leos is really easy to use, I don't think it encourages you to be a better flyer. Right. Whereas Equester, I think, has some interesting tactical, with Extract Essence, to challenge the dragon to fly, but also really powerful. And I also think it's the most beautiful dragon of that season. Neptus is really fantastic as well. But in terms of the entry level, or the like legendary dragons, I think Equester, that flaming mane, I love.
Now the funny thing is about Equester, though, the reason I didn't go for her at first, and the reason I didn't was because I didn't realize that there was going to be like this invincible little dragon in front. So when I learned that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to get that dragon. So
yeah,
I did.
The lightning familiar is really cool. Yes. I really like that, and I think it's fun to have that accompanying you. I do wish I had gotten that dragon farther. The second one I went with was Avix because I was trying to get better with hunters. Then I fell in love, and we'll talk about Springvale, with 2 hunters, and now I don't even touch Avix anymore because I just love my new hunters so much. So I wish now I don't have really a sorcerer in my team that I like. So I wish I had picked up Equester.
Never know, you might get one during the summer flare.
I'm really interested in Coats. I think that might be the first dragon I go for. And it's the discount dragon, which always
I'm with nice. You. But I've fallen in love with sorcerers thanks to Equester. So it's a Springvale. I'd say 4 is the one that I the reason I went for 4 was because I had Grog. And my dark elemental dragons were no longer, evolvable, from the earlier season. So I sat back and I actually did a video where I predicted that either the last 2 dragons were going to be your dark elemental dragon.
Yep.
So I'm like, I'm not touching a dragon until you guys release the second one. And then, so sure enough, I ended up getting 4, not by choice, but by force of, I need a dark elemental dragon for Grog.
Oh, interesting. Wow. Well, you are psychic. I mean, my go-to right now is 4. I love 4. And I have Oksana on 4. And it's my favorite. I just fly those every single time that I can. This has made me a better flyer flying with 4. I really like the area of effect disable. I think is really fun, and I am planning out my approaches a lot more because of it. And then you combine that with the the explosive ability of this dragon, and it's super fun.
Now everybody can watch like previews of your all's dragons on your live streams, right? The War Dragons live streams.
Yeah. I believe that Crisis and Arlena usually do previews. I think they'll be flying them this week, right after season launches. They should be flying all 3 new dragons. So if you want to get an idea of how they play and their abilities, I mean, there's a learning curve for them as well. So it takes them a while to understand, how to use these dragons. Wednesday is Twitch. I don't remember the name. I'm sure if you just search Twitch War Dragons, it'll show up. And then Thursday is our Facebook Live stream, and you can tune in for that as well. If you come watch the streams, you can also enter into a raffle, which can be explained when you start the stream, and you can earn some cool prizes. And then we've also been doing a YouTube stream on Fridays, which I'll be joining occasionally, and you can tune into that one as well. I believe just searching YouTube War Dragons might show up.
Believe it or not, I actually watch while I'm at work with headphones in and listen to you guys and go back and look, and nobody knows I'm listening in.
I love that.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely.
Thank you for watching. It means a lot to me. I mean, this is why I work here is for you and the players, and anytime I can talk with you or get feedback, it really warms my heart. Even if that feedback can be harsh sometimes, or players upset, it always comes from a place of loving the game of War Dragons, and that's what keeps me coming to work.
Are you a volunteer?
Am I a volunteer?
Yeah, or or are you actually employed there?
I'm actually employed.
Okay, so it's a business where you guys actually have employees that are being paid, right?
Yes. Yes, it is a business. We are not volunteers. We have a pretty big team here of, I believe we're close to 70, just working on this game every single day. And, I love it. It's really exciting for me. I've never worked at a place where I felt so engaged by the product before and so passionate about it, and also been able to talk with the people actually using the product and playing the game. It's really mind-blowing. One of the problems I have is I can't stop thinking about it. I go home, I'm on the forums.
I'll have dreams. It's ridiculous.
Exactly. I go on vacation, I'm on the forums. I'm playing the game, I'm on the forums, I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
I love the forums. There's so much, that's why I want PG Jared to come on.
Oh yeah, well I'm sure he'd love to. He's one of my favorite people I work with here. He cracks me up.
He would be a hoot to have one just to talk about some of those.
So your mom plays as well?
My mother, my father, my kids, my sisters, my nephew, and myself and my husband.
Oh, I love that.
We're actually going home in the end of June and visiting with our family. We're going to go camping, and we're planning on doing a vlog of all of us playing around the camp.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Please let me know when you do that. Maybe I'll come join your camping trip. That sounds like...
So my mom, she's trying to create some campfire songs about war dragons, so we'll see what happens.
That's incredible. Please send those to us. We'll play them around the office.
All right. Now, before I let you go, I appreciate you doing this with us today, and maybe we can have you again on in the future.
Oh, it was such a pleasure, RPW. Anytime.
Awesome.
Keep up the great work. I really appreciate it. And we all do here at War Dragons.
Okay. Well, I certainly hope everybody enjoyed that fun interview with PG Coffee, and I'm hoping that we can have some other cool special guests coming up in the future. All right, guys, so let's get into the weekly giveaway for this week. As I mentioned earlier, you're just going to go down to the bottom of the video and put in the comments section below your in-game name, hashtag summerflare. Now, I've noticed that there are a lot of people that don't do this, and it's a really easy thing to do, so in case you can't find it, under this video, you're going to see the video information along with other videos if you're on your app, for example. Scroll all the way down to the bottom and put your in-game name, hashtag summerflare. Now, because this is just a normal drawing, I will not be able to include anybody that's in my team or that is family members. So we'll have to wait for another creative one in the future. But this $20 in-game pack will help you get your new season boosted off. So be sure to sign up for that as soon as possible. Now, this will be shut down for, to be able to apply for this within 48 hours. We should put out the winner sometime on Friday. So be sure to check back on that as well. All right, guys, remember that these prizes are not distributed by me, RPW, but by War Dragons, by supporting their creators' faction members. So I want to thank them for supporting my video today, and hopefully you win. All right, guys, so another little quick thing I want to put out is that my series Beginner's Guide to War Dragons series is moving. It will actually be flip-flopping back and forth with Wednesdays and Thursdays with our event guide videos. I am trying to, kind of contract what I do in videos a little bit more, because it is very overwhelming, doing all these videos that I edit, which take me sometimes hours like this. This takes me 3 to 4 hours sometimes between setup, edit, and actually posting. So I am trying to, make my videos on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays now. Tomorrow we will actually have the new season coming out. So more than likely tomorrow will be more about events, and then Thursday will be the beginner's guide. Whenever we have PvPs, it'll be flip-flopped. We'll do beginner's guide on that Wednesday, and then the the event guide on that Thursday. So be sure to check back tomorrow and see what tomorrow's video is all about. All right, guys, before you leave, make sure that you remember, if you liked today's video, to leave me a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell for notifications. And thanks to all of you that have been supporting my channel for such a long time. Happy hunting!